Anyway, welcome. We are T and D and L and J.
Sure.
Because Lake and Jorah.
Yes.
They're
That
our
is
names.
our names.
We got some submissions, but before we do that, how's the D&D life going? How's the last game you were in? How's characters going? How's the story
You
going?
really think I remember from
just asking.
a week ago?
What do you remember from a week ago?
Oh, fuck. Not a lot.
Okay. Well,
We did some shit. We got told that we have to kill that evil woman because she is a scroll.
yeah.
Bitch. I still hated the kids and I want to kill all of them too. They could be scrolls now too. Further proving my theory, I'm going to kill everyone, even though my character is good.
Chaotic good.
Yes, but...
So, chaotic good means whatever you think is good, you're gonna fucking do.
Well,
and everyone
now
else
that-
can sod off.
Now that Cloak thinks that... Well, now Cloak knows that that evil woman is a friggin' scroll thing, whatever. He'll think, well, if she's a friggin' scroll, then all of her children will be friggin' scrolls, so they can all die too. Everyone will die.
Yeah, basically in the Sunday game we've got... It's basically the Horcruxes, let's just be real. But, like, a little less... Like, it's not her soul divided or something, it's just contracts that let her rule over the city or whatever. And you guys royally screwed over finding out about the last one.
Did we?
When you were talking to the kid.
Oh yeah,
that
we
missed.
abused the kid, basically.
Yep.
Well...
Told
verbally
like an
abused.
8-year-old to their face that their mother is an awful mother and that she's being abused.
Well, yeah. I mean, we were right. She is being abused by her mum.
Correct, but she's 8.
And so far up her own mum's arse.
She's 8, Laura. She
Well,
is a
some
small
8-year-olds have gotta
child
learn.
raised by her mother to believe that nothing is going wrong. The other ones are a bit older and can make their own decisions. She's stuck around a little monument
If
thing.
we dispel magic her because she was missed, would that work?
She'd die.
Ooh.
Yep.
Not me friggin' planning to kill an 8-year-old.
Hey, Rob's new character and can take Dispel Magic if he wants.
Yes, good. Hi, Rob. If you're watching the podcast, please take Dispel Magic so we can kill the Misty Girl, even though I know that your character was not happy about us saying some mean shit to an 8-year-old.
Rob was the only one playing it normally,
Yeah.
with his average charisma character.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Laura and Cloak at the same point were done with it, so we were like, you know what, child, fuck you. I want out. I kind of want to play my new character, so I'm like, fuck you!
If you play your new character, then you'll have to, like, level regress them all the way back down to 3 when we start. Plus... No, wait, we won't
No,
be
I
doing
meant
it
so
simultaneously.
that I didn't have to deal with that 8-year-old's shit and that woman's shit, so we can move on to the next campaign. That's what I meant.
Oh, right.
Not to...
Not to get
Not
Cloak
to
killed.
get Cloak killed, no.
Well, I intended it to be short. We've done 4 sessions. You guys have already done,
4?
like... Yeah.
I could have sworn we did more than that.
No, just 4. We skipped a week at some point.
Yeah, because you did the other one where they got in jail.
No, I think I just did. I don't know.
No,
People
yeah, you
went
did.
there.
You
That
did.
was on a Tuesday.
Oh, yeah.
So we missed a week. But yeah, that's been going on for a bit. You guys are more than halfway done. The first challenge was finding out about the scrolls. The second challenge is finding them and destroying them. And so far you've got 2 out of technically 7. Because
Yeah.
there's, the lady.
Robot Man was pulling some great strings in freeing Ryan from having these wicked ass
He had remove
curses.
curse.
Yeah.
Which is useful. He's a cleric that's 5th level and just has, like, create food and water.
Is that where he made the
remove
beats
curse. No, they're just little items that he had, because create food and water only lasts 24 hours.
Oh, right. So kind
He
of like
has
Goodberry.
Aid, lesser restoration. If you go in combat with him, you will live forever. He's just buff man,
Nice.
and is also a mega tank, because he's a warforged. But yeah, there's some lore surrounding that, where, like, they're in a dream world, and the 2 people who can't be affected by the dream are like walking around still alive, trying to be heroes and shit. One of them had saved a kid, the other was helping out a town or something. And you met both of them in the span of 2 sessions.
Yeah, because I had to play that woman.
Yeah, luckily she was pretty easy.
Yeah, she wasn't too complicated. I was like, oh god, if I have to play anybody with spellcasting ability, Lord help me.
Right, Ryan took that mantle.
Yes, thank God to Ryan. Jeez.
Ryan on Thursday is going to be managing a level 11 sorcerer, a level 9 ranger, and a level 8 barbarian.
Why?
Because of that Avengers Endgame moment that I told you about that they had in Thursday.
Oh yeah. I
Summoned
that.
2 of his previous characters. Well, one of his previous ones, and one that was established, but the way that they worded their spell, he also appeared. So, here's a little explanation. Tomb of Annihilation, spoiler warning a little bit. They're in the final dungeon, and they go on this big old mechanism, and manage to roll on a D100 the exact number needed to get a wish spell. And they use the wish spell to Avengers Endgame people out of portals that they've met before, or that they know of, or stuff like that that could perhaps help them. And it worked, and they basically got all the party from like the Icewind Dale game back, up-leveled a bit, etc, etc. And that was very cool. So yeah, Ryan's going to be playing 3 characters.
I'm glad I'm not in that campaign. That would be too much for my small brain to handle.
One of his characters has 29 hit points at level 11.
Jesus Christ.
Because he's death cursed.
Jeez.
Yeah. So he's going to die.
Yeah.
Acerak can cast Finger of Death, which is a 7th level spell. If his character fails the saving throw, he will die instantly. If he succeeds, he goes unconscious instantly.
Ah.
So it's...
There's no good outcome there.
No, there is not. In fact, even if he succeeds, there's still a chance that he dies instantly. But 3 of their party do have counterspell. Spoiler warning for that for my players in that game. I'm going to tell you my plan for what I'm going to do.
Okay.
So there's a Acerak. We know about him. I've talked about him plenty. Mr. Mega Lich dude. You've been seeing him in thumbnails for the past month.
Yes, because I said, is that dude you talked about in the video?
Yeah. And he's going to be in there. Normally, the module, how it presents it, is that there's first this big fuck-off weird undead baby thing that I also showed you. And it's just that, and they fight that, and then they fight a Acerak. But no, they're in the same room. And on the 3rd level of the dungeon, they had failed to open a door that would have given them access to the room of an invisible beholder that they didn't manage to get to, so an invisible beholder is also going to be in the room.
Jesus Christ.
No one saw it enter because it just went by them.
Lord help them.
During their little short rest.
I suppose they're having several characters each will be a bit of a benefit.
All of those have legendary actions as well. So it's going to be a lot for me to manage, and I'm also doing 3 NPCs.
Ooh.
Luckily, 2 of the NPCs are insanely simple. One has 2 bow attacks, and the other has 3 sword attacks.
Oh, fair enough then.
And there's a couple of things with the other one, because she's kind of like a 11th level fighter lady. She's powerful. But yeah, that's going to be interesting.
Someone's friggin' chopping trees down or some shit.
I noticed.
I only just realised.
I noticed that.
That's going to be all on this audio, I guarantee. My apologies.
Definitely. It's fine though. It's fine.
Friggin' neighbours. Stop doing garden work on the weekend.
I did the maths just now. If I were to maximise all of my actions, I could have a total of 12 actions split between 3 people.
Jeez.
So there's going to be 6 eye rays going off a turn. Because Beholder.
Well, yeah.
There's going to be an aura of death.
It'll
where
just be
people can't
death,
heal.
Death.
Something
death,
else that they're going to
death.
have to deal with is Acerak and the Beholder working together. Because remember the Beholder's big eye? Do you know what that does?
No.
Anti-magic field.
Oh yeah, I actually do remember that.
So
that fucked over Edwin, and now it's very annoyed.
Yeah. But that's going to be going on at the same time, and it's going to be positioned in places where it will screw over some of the party, so that then Acerak can screw over the rest of them.
Ooh.
And there's just this big undead baby in the middle of there, stopping them from healing and dealing constant necrotic damage to
If
them.
I was in that battle, me, Laura, not any of my characters, I'd just look at that, take one look at that baby and be like, absolutely disgusting, and leave.
The door shuts the moment you go in.
Oof, I would just be like, well, shit.
Dimension door!
Yep, bye.
Dimension door would get you out of
I
there.
love that spell. I love it.
Your cleric will get it at some point.
Yeah, I'm gonna take it. It's safe.
You don't
on
even get a
many
choice.
occasion.
You don't even get a choice.
Good.
The way that the cleric subclasses work is that you automatically get 2 constantly prepared spells every
Good.
level. So you're going to have a lot.
Constantly have Dimension Door.
And you can swap them out. And you don't have to just do it with your warlock spell slots. Because you have all of these other spell slots.
Yes. That will be complicated.
Not really.
Well, it's me we're talking about. I'll have to get used to it.
You'll be fine, I think.
I'm
you don't
like,
need to
all
worry
of these
about it.
new spells, and I'm just not instantly Eldritch
playing
blasting everything?
I'm playing a cleric right now, I can help you.
Yeah.
I'm playing an 8th level cleric. Twilight clerics are very powerful, but they're a lot to manage. Because in one fight once, I had a magic circle down, a channel divinity up, giving people temporary hit points and some dim light. I had a spiritual weapon up, and I had greater invisibility on. I had to manage all of that.
Yeah.
I did fine at it, but it's a lot.
Yeah.
Clerics can do that. They can have a lot of things going on the field at once.
That's gonna confuse the living shit out of me.
Not once you get used to it. Spiritual weapon is one of the things that you'll get used to pretty quickly. Because it's kind of free. It's not even concentration.
Yeah, that's what will confuse me. I'll be like, yeah, I have this really cool thing down as concentration, and I have this really cool spell I want to do, and you'll be like, concentration, Laura. I'll be like, fuck. That'll be the case that'll come up for me.
No, spiritual weapon isn't.
No, any spell. I'll have any concentration spell down, and then I'll try and do another one that's whatever cancels that, and I'm like, shit.
Well, I'm here to help you, not kill you. That's not my
I
objective.
beg to differ. Beg to differ.
I haven't been trying to kill you.
Well, that's true.
It's just been happening.
That's true. Yeah.
In my D&D news, one of my characters is level 8 now. We also got, because we did like this really hard quest that we should not have been able to do. It was for like levels 10 or 11, but I managed to get a fairy fire on the bad guy, and then everyone got advantage and stuff like that. And it got us straight up to level 8. And simultaneously with that, for a reward, some really powerful dude gave us all a 23 in a stat of our choice. So I took charisma with my cleric because he wants to be a world leader someday, and I thought that's a good way to start. Have more charisma than any person in the world can. There were both of our barbarians. Well, one's mostly a blood hunter, but has 1 level of barbarian because they were scared that they were going to die. They both took dexterity because they don't wear armor, so their ACs are like 24 and 22 now. Our like 10-year-old kid character in the party went for Constitution. So the 10-year-old kid is almost twice as durable as the 75-year-old man, me. And then our rogue, I think, took wisdom, so that they're mega insight. But we're very powerful people now, and we have 2 cars. And there's a lot of weird shit going on. And I'm going to be playing in Curse of Strahd, which I'm kind of excited for and also dreading, because I've read most of that book. I know a lot about what happens in that book. And it's going to be really hard not to metagame because I kind of know how most of the story is going to go. So our DM has said, I'm going to be taking you to all of the places that you never properly got to explore or read into because you never had to and stuff. And I'm like, oh, thank you, man. And he's going to be doing different stuff with it and stuff like that, trying new techniques and shit. So I'm not going to be as I'm not going to be a metagaming piece of shit. I never was going to be, but now there's, a bit less likely for it to happen. And I'm playing the first session. Well, it's not really the first session. We're doing a session 0 next week. But yeah, that's our D&D news, I suppose.
Which took 16 minutes, although half of that was me trying to get you to shut up about the intro.
Okay. We don't have to just answer questions.
Well, that's true.
We're not professionals here. This is a podcast. We can talk about whatever.
Yeah.
Boy. All of my group is like planning stuff for the Thursday game right now. They're like coming up with formations and they're doing a buddy system.
Oh. Well, that's not related to the questions. Ugh.
Guys, please like the video and comment to save me from Laura's wrath.
Yes.
Let's do one of the ideas for videos things that we got submitted.
Yes.
We got submitted 2, but one was like an entire section idea. So thank you, the one of the 2 best fans that we have, I think, Miss Trashley, where she suggested a whole section. I don't know if we'll fully do it. But if you want to contribute to said section, you can do so in the comments or join our Discord and pop it in here. Basically, you give us a prompt and we come up with rough ideas based around it and how we might do things. So we got submitted False Hydra by her, which you know a little bit about from my description of it earlier.
Which I've completely forgotten.
The silence from Doctor Who.
Oh, yeah.
What was their deal, so that I can kind of make a bit of a comparison?
What do you mean, what was their deal?
What did the silence do?
They were like, we're here, now we're gone. You've forgotten who we are. That's it.
With the like high eyes and
Like,
everything.
yes.
Yeah, man.
They were just like...
Is that the sounds they make?
Something like that. If I can find some audio, I'm going to hate myself for saying that, but if I can find some audio of them, I will overlay it now.
Good plan.
No, shush, I'm overlaying the audio.
You can just mute us.
Yeah, but that's counterintuitive. Shh.
Alright, that was cool. I did that at the exact right time. Wait, were you like picturing the audio?
Why is
in
it
your
flashing at me? 14 something something.
14 something.
It's flashing at me.
Animate this part, Laura.
19 minutes. Hello, this is my face very close to...
Animate this part, Laura.
No.
Animate it.
I'm going to stop it and come back on. Oh look, you're in focus, but I'm not because autofocus is not on.
Animate this part, Laura.
No!
Look, here's our stick figures going.
No, we are not. No, we are not. No.
I'm making our sound effects.
Sound effects to video of me and you.
Some people think that the Star Wars franchise was they used like digital audio stuff to make sound effects, but it was actually just all me. They got me in the studio and they just went, all right, go wild, and then I just went.
You seen that video of who is it? Is it like Cardi B or something, where they put her sounds over Star Wars stuff?
Is Cardi B the one who drugged and raped men?
Yes, I think so. But they overlaid sounds of someone. I think it was her. Don't know.
Epic, awesome. She's allowed to live in this society. Epic. So false hydras, they do some things.
I just want to point out, when I first read it on Discord, I did not think of whatever the fuck it is. I thought of, yes, evil Marvel shit. So that's where my brain went.
Evil Marvel shit. What, the organisation?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm
one
taking
that-
off my Crocs. My feet are too sweaty. I am too fucking cool for everyone here. Yeah.
To
With
be
my
fair, my
cat socks.
sketches.
I mean, I've
Bah.
got... No, get your dirty ass feet off my cat socks. Get off. These are my cat socks. Aren't I cool? Yes, I am. There we go, we can continue.
Oh man. Anyway, false hydras. They're basically so me and like James has used these, I think.
Cool.
I read an article on them just before this so that I actually knew what they were, just double checking, and it said that they're a great tool for an evil DM to use.
James is an evil DM.
Oh, he is. Nah, he's not. He's not an evil DM. If the most evil DM I've ever played with was probably me.
Yo, what? I'm confused by that sentence.
As
How
in,
have you played
I'm
your
the-
own game?
As in, I'm the most
Oh.
evil DM.
I was gonna say, I was like, how have you played your own game?
I'm just a little bit more less lenient of people's failure and people's stupidity.
Yeah, well, you do call people out when they do stuff that it's not right.
When they do stuff that's dumb.
Yeah.
You can't be not right in D&D, you can just be an idiot. Like someone in our Thursday game was like, I'm gonna try and harness the energy of the darkness in the mouth and try and pull it out. And I'm like, okay, make an Arcana check. And it was a Sphere of Annihilation. And they succeeded the check you need to do to pull it out. You can actually move a Sphere of Annihilation if you're good enough at Arcana. So he did, and it just right into him, and it's a condensed black hole.
Ah.
So that was 8d10 force damage. The almost dropped into 0, and if it did, it would have instantly crumpled him into dust and just shot into the black hole. So yeah, and he was like, I duck out of the way, and I'm like, no. You pulled this towards you. You are suffering the consequences. But a false Hydra is a bit more of a cool storytelling way to be an evil DM, apparently. The essence is the party can kind of like rock up into town and everything's weird. Like people are disappearing and reappearing and no one thinks anything's wrong. You might trip over nothing. And the essence is there's a false Hydra in the area that's kind of maybe, I don't know, doing a song. I think that's what they do. And changing everything around them with illusions and shit. Which is your sort of enemy, to be fair. I can imagine if you were to ever DM properly, you'd use a fucking false Hydra. Just dick around with
No, because I
illusions.
don't do proper games.
Yeah, but like, you know, if you did, I'm saying, hypothetically, because you like your illusion shenanigan weird shit.
Well, I don't know. I'm never gonna do a proper game.
Don't say that.
No, I will say it because, knowing me, I never will do a proper one.
Even Ryan said he would DM. He just
Why isn't he then?
he doesn't want to learn Roll20.
Fez.
That's the only thing. If we all go to proper like IRL games again, which is very unlikely because since we've since the pandemic, a lot of the new players we've gotten are from like, 40-50 minutes away to like 3 hours away. But yeah, so how would we do a false Hydra? So I'll tell you what James did with his. Basically, the people had walked into like a town and, all the weird shit had happened. There were people disappearing and reappearing, rooms were changing and shit, and they might walk through things at the same time as they'd trip on nothing and stuff like that. And, during that, he did like a, he even showcased a cool jump scare that he'd planned, where he came up with his, own version of how it would look, and he just went with, a typical ghosty horror face. Mm-hmm. And he just, specified that he'd stop the music and then just play a very quiet crackling audio sound that would slowly increase, and then he'd narrate it crawling from a corner, and then as it got properly starting to get louder, he'd just show a Roll20 handout of just its face just going and it fucking got me. I don't after looking at the image and just seeing it still there, I was like, oh, okay, that's not scary anymore. But the first
Jump
5
scare.
seconds where it was there, I'm like, oh god, I do not want to fight this thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how he kind of did that. And I think that's cool. But what if there was an entire false Hydra dungeon about that constantly changed? So something that you could do is have a dungeon layout and then do 4 slight variants. So you've got all your rooms and stuff, here's the beds for the soldiers or something, and here's the guard room, and here's the kitchen. The kitchen and the guard room have swapped in number 2 or something. And then in number 3, there's normally patrols, there aren't anymore, but you can still bump into them and fight invisible patrols and shit like that. So, I don't know, that sounds fucking cool. Just a constantly changing dungeon.
Sorry, well, as soon as you said variants, my head went back to Loki.
What do you mean?
There's variants,
What's variants?
in Loki. You've not been paying attention. The TVA's Yeah, you've not paid attention. Ignore me. It's fine.
I'm confused. What are you on about? Is this Loki references I'm not
Yes.
understanding for the...
Yes, because you didn't pay attention.
I've heard people saying that Loki's kind of shit.
It is not shit.
Well, it just seems hard to follow.
No.
There's a
You
lot
were
of
not
stuff.
paying attention
It's a
to
longer
it.
movie. You know what I mean?
No.
It's harder to piece together.
No. Who said this? People are hurting my feelings. I really enjoy Loki. Not because I'm majorly biased. We're ignoring my bias to Loki here. If I was just to watch it and say the same shit happened to Wanda, I'd be perfectly fine with it. I really enjoy the series and I think it's cool. Mobius is a sick-ass motherfucking character. Love him.
Who?
Mobius, the guy that takes him in.
Oh, right.
Wow. Him. Owen Wilson. That's his name.
I like how you went to WoW before Owen Wilson.
Yes. I forgot his name and I was like, he's the WoW man.
He is the WoW man. That's his thing.
But apparently there's no wows in
There's
Loki.
no wows in Loki.
He doesn't say wow at all in Loki, apparently. There's only one episode left, and I'm depressed about that. Anyway, we're doing a D&D podcast, so I better shut up about Marvel.
It doesn't have to just be a D&D podcast.
Well, this is a D&D channel, and people will berate me in the comments if I talk about anything else. So, back to D&D. Talk about your weird variant dungeon thing.
No, I'm done with that.
Never mind!
I think we can talk about whatever. This doesn't just have to be D&D. This is just
Fairs.
our podcast. People come here for us.
The name is quite literally T and D&D.
Yeah.
And Marvel should be on the end. And Laura obsessing about whatever the fuck she's obsessed with at the moment.
I tried to follow that and make an acronym, but I just could not. You went way too fast for me.
Sorry. My brain is on speed mode.
And crack.
Yes.
Well,
I am speed. Ka-chow! Lord.
Fucking hell.
I saw a TikTok meme thing on Instagram, which is like, oh yeah, the thunder's really bad. I wonder if we see some lightning, and he's got a Lightning McQueen toy, and he goes, ka-chow, and he goes across. Oh, that made me laugh. Too much, I think. But, you know, it's the small things in life. Like that Lightning McQueen toy. It's quite small. I had one of those Lightning McQueen toys that you pushed the button down that went across, and I used it all in the kitchen.
There was one that had a button on it.
Yeah, like, you know those things that you have in school, like the ladybug things that you, like, program, and you go forward, left,
Raspberry
right,
Pi.
right. Whatever the fuck that is. I don't know what it is. But you'd get it, and you go forward, and it would go forward, and then it would follow whatever you'd programmed into it. And I made it go all the way around the kitchen. I was well happy with myself when I went forward, left, and it went into the lounge.
That's very cool.
I've gone on a major sidetrack about Lightning McQueen, and...
Dude,
you know.
On a similar note to that, I remember in like year maybe 7 or 8 or something, we were doing an IT class, and we were learning how to do Scratch games and stuff. Remember Scratch?
No.
It was like a Flash thing where you could make your own games. It was pretty damn fucking genius and made it real easy. And me and my mate Reese were doing it like 4 years before we'd even got there. So we went on it and like instantly completed every single task that was required on us in about 5 minutes of the 1 hour lesson. And the teacher was like, "How'd you do that?" And we were just, I don't know, we've done it. So he was like...
Is that the same thing you could use to turn the traffic lights different colours? Or am I thinking of something else?
I mean, I imagine you could use Scratch to do that. Maybe they might have taught you that. But basically, the teacher was very proud of us and was like, "Show me what you can make in the rest of the lesson," or something. And I'd made like a shooting game, which was like, got 2 lines and they acted as kind of like a crosshair or something. And it was like, you know, the arcade shooters where you get the gun and you shoot the things that come on screen. Like basically one of those, except with a mouse. And my mate did like a racing game and stuff, and he was like, "Right, come into the class at like lunch or something. I'm going to teach you how to work this thingy," and showed us like a big old Raspberry Pi vehicle he'd made and showed us how to program it. We went in.
No, it was not Raspberry Pi then.
No?
No.
Well, Raspberry Pi is just a simple program that you can put into anything.
Yeah, I know, because my dad uses it to make stuff.
Oh, right, cool. But yeah, no, we'd use that. And then we got into the lesson.
I'm going to find it, hold on.
In lunch, and he'd sat us down and was just like, "Just give me a minute, I've got a bad behaving kid and I need to talk to him." And that's what we got to watch for the rest of lunch.
Hold on, I'm searching Programmable Lightning McQueen.
Programmable Lightning McQueen.
Yeah.
How did you
Here it is, look, this thing. right? So it had buttons on it, yeah? And you go
Uh-huh.
forward, left, or whatever. And then you click go, and then it'll follow it.
Oh, cool. And you programmed it to go around the whole...
Yeah, I was well bloody happy with that. That kept me entertained for like weeks. Until I moved on to the next thing that I was interested in. I was like, you know what? Forget Lightning McQueen. It's the B movie now, but that's a completely different timeline. Whatever.
I mean, that's the current timeline, let's be real.
Yeah, I mean...
We
back then,
unironically watched the B movie.
Yes,
It was
and you
kind
said
of
it was good.
I liked it.
Yeah, I remember having a McDonald's toy of the one of the bees. I can't remember which one it was, but it was like a McDonald's soft toy of the bee, and I just remember lobbing it at Christopher.
Very specific memory.
Mm.
Did they die afterwards?
No, it was a soft toy.
Yeah, but the bees.
No. We gave it to... Did we sell it? Probably sold it at a car boot sale.
For 10p.
Probably, yeah. We did loads of car boot sales when I was younger.
Yeah.
I actually did one with Christopher and He Who Shall Not Be Named, and I got given alcohol. I won alcohol, and I was not 18. And I was like, what the fuck?
I mean, I imagine I'd get let into money bingo at my age, even though I'm 17.
Yeah, fairs.
They just let me in.
Well, basically, it was a raffle, right? And they were like, you can win all these prizes, and the top prize was the alcohol, and the other prize was like some other shit. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I'll go into the raffle. I probably won't get the alcohol. I'll probably get nothing. Went into it, blah, 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 blah. Sold all my shit. Not all of my shit, because I came back with some of it. But anyway. Sold stuff. Had a panic because I had to talk to people and discuss prices, and they were like, will you take this price for it? I was like, ah! And anyway,
You were like, ah!
Yep.
That's the sound you made. Excuse me, miss. Could I maybe have this 50p item for like half as much?
Yep. I stop working as soon as anyone I don't know approaches me.
You
Laura
just
has powered down.
break down.
Yeah.
I'd
Anyway,
do quite the opposite.
what was
I'd be
that?
stood there bored, and then someone would walk over, and I'm like, hey!
I'd be like, people wanna
No,
talk
you'd
to
be
me.
like,
Yes, that's more accurate.
if we ever do a car boot together, I
I'll
will
sit
know.
in the car and you'll just
I was
do
just about to
everything.
say, I'm going to sit you in the car after you've set up everything, and I
Yep.
sit in the car while I wait for you to do it,
Yeah.
and then we swap.
Yeah, that's just how these
And
things
I
work. I'll just have
sell
Netflix
stuff.
or Disney Plus on in the background. I'm like, this is fine. All is good.
You just watch me talk to people.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's not my element. I hated doing that car boot sale. I'm not even going to lie to you, but I needed to sell a bunch of my shit. Because that's when I was moving from the other room to the smaller one.
And you had like a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
My nana does all sorts of car boots. And granddad as well. They do plenty.
We ended up going to McDonald's before, and I had pancakes for breakfast. Because we had to wake up at like 5 and then go really early to set up so we haven't
Breakfast pancakes always make me feel sick.
Do they?
So, I had breakfast pancakes at McDonald's once. It made me feel sick. I had breakfast pancakes at a giraffe restaurant.
I was going to say, at a giraffe?
At a giraffe. It let me within its guts.
And it made you pancakes.
I feasted on its inner pancakes. No, there's a restaurant branch called Giraffe. They're like mostly in
I
like
have never heard
shoppings, like high-end shopping centers and airports. They're like pretty localized.
Yes.
And I had breakfast pancakes from there, and I was quite literally sick. They were food poisoned.
Ooh, lovely.
Yeah, and the way that we can mainly determine that is that me and my two brothers, both all
I think
three
you
of us,
told me about this.
we all three of us got these pancakes, like 2 each or something, and Mr. Middle Brother Luke went, no, I don't like these, you two can have them, so me and Tyler shared them, and it was just me and Tyler that got really sick on the plane. He was fine. He was sat next to me having to deal with me.
Yeah.
Apparently he had a conversation with an old lady while I was just into a bag constantly.
That's quite funny.
Not really funny for all of it. The first time, I knew I felt it, so I went to like the toilets and I sat in there for a bit, and then it was fine. I left, and the moment I was walking down the runway, everyone's open-toed sandals were
I would hate
When I
being thrown
went
up
back
on.
to the toilet to like clean up, I walked down the aisle and I was literally just like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
It probably all as grossed out as anything, to be honest. No, because if anyone's like sick around me, I will actually gag and then throw up myself. If I see someone else be sick, I can't look at it or hear it or smell it because it just makes me gag, and then I want to throw up myself.
Sensitive ass.
Yeah.
You better be lucky that I have an amazing immune system for
The
everything
man
except
that says,
pollen.
yeah, I was gonna say the man that gets sniffles at flowers.
Pollen is my kryptonite. Everything else I'm fine with. I'm pretty strong with my immune system because my mum raised me well and I'm a healthy boy. Let's do another question.
Yes, back onto normal, regular D&D topics.
You get so irritated when we don't do exactly what we need to be doing. This is our channel, Laura.
It's because I've planned it in my head.
You planned
And then we go-
this in your head.
Yes, we talk about D&D shit and then it's all fine. And then I don't have to think about D&D until tomorrow.
We're not even thinking about D&D now.
No, but now you're talking about D&D and I'm like, oh, back into panic mode.
Well, this last one's less to do with D&D and more about the game itself. Problem
Okay.
players, because James asked about it.
Yes, that was a good question actually. 'cause
You are a problem player.
Yes, because I don't talk.
That's not true at all. No one can, like... So there's problem players that exist, right?
I assume everyone's a problem player. at some
Everyone
point.
has their moments. We all have our
Me,
flaws
twice
within the
a
game.
week. Not know what the fuck I'm doing. Not talking.
That's not being a problem player, that's just being yourself.
Well, yeah.
Like, if you cared enough about the game, you could, like, look into shit and stuff like that, but...
I don't.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you're casual. I'm much more extreme with it.
Yeah.
But if we do live together at some point, it will take over more of your life.
No, it will not. I will ignore.
Yeah, but if we have a big enough space, people are coming over to play D&D.
No!
They're coming over.
Not in my personal space!
Alright then. You don't
There
get
will
to bring
be-
Pickle.
Bitch, you are not taking my cat away
They
from
are
me.
as important.
No! My poor
They are
cat.
equally important to either of us.
No, well, we'll have to set boundaries. Boundaries. The cat will be allowed everywhere. Everyone else will be allowed in one tiny room.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Yeah.
She's a cat, we can't
Cats can roam free!
If people bring their cats, they can roam free as well.
No, because then there'll be cat fights and Pickle will have anxiety. I'm not surprised my cats have even more anxiety.
So we all have our flaws as players that are never
Yes,
really going
back
to
to
stop.
the original story.
So what do you think yours is? Your main flaw?
Well, I don't talk enough.
Incorrect. That's not a flaw. There's some people who can just be observant players. Some people come to D&D
It's that I
less
zone out
to...
and then I don't pay attention. And then I forget what's going on. And I'm like, what is the fuck? What's happening? And then I'm like, oh shit, I'm supposed to be paying attention. Hold on a second. And then it takes me like 5 minutes to realise what's going on. And then maybe I'll talk. But then half the time, I'm like, no. I know what you're thinking of is that I leave during the middle of the sessions if I'm bored.
You haven't really done that in a while.
Well, yeah, but sometimes I do. And I blame it on the internet. Sometimes it actually has been on the internet. That's not been my fault.
I immediately know when it's not the internet.
Yeah, well, sometimes I'm just
Like-
like, I join, and then I lose all motivation to play, and I'm like, no.
Like,
And then I move.
with James' Eberron game, I was like,
Yeah. Well, sorry, James.
how are you going to keep... Like, if you lose internet on Discord, you wait a few... It leaves you in the call for a few minutes, and then kicks you out.
Yeah, I know. I deliberately turned the internet off. That's what I did when I was at uni, and I didn't want to play, and I was like, bye.
Or you could say, I'm not vibing with this. Bye, guys. I've said
Yeah.
that before. I left in the middle of a... I was in a Roll20 game once that I joined, and the vibe was not it at all. They were a bunch of murder hobos. One of them mentioned, that, like, the DM made deliberately very sexy female NPCs. I never told you about this game that I was in, did I?
No.
All of the players were basically just trying to get with her, and I'm like, hey guys, we got a quest, right? We gotta go sort out this freaking manticore.
Yeah. D&D is not about sexy women and sexy men.
I mean, it can be, but not to that extent that they were.
D&D is about geese!
If you're playing a D&D game and there are not geese in it, then fuck you. No,
Yes.
but they were, your typical sweaty nerds that wanted to fuck, and the closest that they could get to it was role-playing it.
Mm-hmm.
And they weren't doing it, but they were very suggestive about it, and they were very, like, laughy and into the concept, and I was just like, yo, I had a cool backstory for, like, a guy. I'm gonna just save that for something else, I think. And I literally said in the middle of it, this is not my sort of game. I think I'm gonna step out. And the DM was like, nah, that's fine.
Fair.
Like, even though they were doing their own really weird thing, they can do what they want. It just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
So not really problem players all around, just that's their game, and that was not my type of one. If I were to say I have a flaw, it's that I can't shut my fucking mouth. You haven't properly played with me as a player before. You've been in, like,
I did 2
one-offs.
sessions because it was like Eberron, and then I decided I didn't like it.
Yeah.
But I think that's because I wasn't vibing with the noir vibe that James was going for. I liked the music,
The music.
but I wasn't keen on the noir vibes, whereas the one that you're running, I've sort of thought to myself, oh, well, I'll make it more steampunk, and I vibe more with that than noir.
Mm-hmm.
So, no offense to James, I'm more than sure your game was great, but
Yeah.
the noir vibes was not my thing.
No, it was great. It was just he himself didn't know what he was doing with it. I don't think
Fair enough.
he got kind of confused about it after a while. But yeah, I can't shut up. You haven't properly played in games with me, but my characters normally like to talk a lot, even when they're not that. I mean, the character that I have coming in is. I'm going to try and make her charisma as low as possible. If I roll and I don't get anything like below an 11 or 12 or something, I'm going to ask my DM, hey, can I have like a 5?
Ooh.
I want a 5 in charisma. I want like a 4 in charisma, because she is mental. And won't really talk much. And that's what I'm going to try and do. I'm going to try and use her as somewhat of a way of getting out of that habit.
You're going to end up like Ryan, have low charisma but still end up talking anyway.
Yeah. It's funny, because the one time he did give it to everyone else,
Yeah.
it got royally fucked up. Like, Rob was handling it well.
Yeah.
He was thinking, this is a child. I will talk to her in the
Well,
way that she wants to be talked to.
I just thought it was missed. Didn't know it was an 8-year-old.
The range is, so Igor was 17.
Yeah, see, I thought it was a teenager, so I was like, you know what, fuck you, I'll be harsh.
Yeah.
But now I know it's an 8-year-old, I'm like, you know what, yeah, still fuck you.
Tooth Girl was 13. Wood Girl was 15. So,
Big
obviously-
age gap.
What?
Big age gap. The
Yeah.
others are all teenagers. This one's 8. Big age gap.
Yeah. And that's the reason, horny teenage 15-year-old girl wanted a flower from Cute Boy.
Oh yeah, forgot that. I forget all the things in the games. That's probably one of my problems, is that I forget everything that happens. And then when you spring it on us to recap, and it turns to me, I'm like, fuck!
Then pay attention, bitch.
Cannot help that.
I think if I were to label a flaw that you had, that would probably be it.
Yeah,
Just
my memory
your-
being shit.
But that's not exactly something you can fully control. I've recommended notes before, but you've just said no.
No, you can't complain at me. I've got a notebook. I'll show you. It's got things in. It's not got a lot in.
It's
but
got
it's...
drawings in mostly, I'd imagine.
Nope. No, it has. Well, I did draw Cloak talking to rats and being a god in the last page. But it has got notes. I said evil woman is a Horcrux. I think I literally put that. And then I said wood girl, flower, something. They're very basic, but it's something.
Yeah.
So, it's something. Do I still remember what any of that means? Not really. But, it's something. So you can't complain that I'm not making notes, because I am. Kind of.
That's fair. I personally find I haven't taken a single note for the game that I'm in. That's been going for like 19, 20 sessions now, and I've remembered like everything. I have a good memory for this sort of stuff, since I kind of live in that world a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a massive fanboy. Like, yesterday I spent a solid 2 hours making my villain for the next adventure that I run for my Thursday game.
Mm-hmm.
Which, spoilers for those guys.
They should have left by now because we already spoiled stuff. If they're still here, then I'm quite surprised.
Well, they might have just skipped ahead, you know.
Maybe.
But it's gonna be an avatar of Grumsh. Grumsh is the orc god of chaos and destruction.
A blue orc god.
Huh?
I'm thinking Avatar the movie. I can't. Whenever anyone says Avatar, I just think blue people.
Avatar as in an avatar of someone means like a form of them. So,
Well, I know that, but the first thought is Avatar the movie, but not the airbending one.
She doesn't let me put on The Last Airbender with us. She doesn't want to watch it.
No.
And then sits me through all of her Disney shows.
Excuse me, you can't moan at MODOK. That was good.
You can't moan at Airbender because it's good.
I haven't seen it,
Exactly.
so I can moan. But I don't want to watch that.
We're watching it at some point.
No.
I'm making you watch it.
No.
You'll love it. It's amazing. Comments. Tell her she's gonna love it. It's the best animated show that I've ever seen.
Have you seen Adventure Time?
I think they're better. It's
Have
better
you seen
than-
Gravity Falls? Have
No.
you seen Over the Garden Wall?
Gravity Falls seems kind of to me from what I have seen.
Ooh.
But you've seen none of Airbender, so you can't.
I probably have. When it was back on TV.
Yeah, you might have. Yeah, to be fair. But okay, so we've talked about what I think your biggest player flaw is and what mine is.
Yes, my memory, something I cannot help.
Well, I mean, there's ways to increase memory. If you tried, if you wanted to. But I'm not, like, forcing you to at all. I'm just saying that that's something you're not as good at in comparison. It's the same as I can't shut up. My Saturday character does not help with that. He's a massive extrovert who wants to take control over everything and is an egomaniac and wants people to listen to him and just bite your nail on
Yes.
camera. We're cutting that bit out then.
No, we're not, because I've been doing it for the past 5 minutes.
Oh, nice.
It is an uncontrollable habit I have.
Awesome. I have a similar one, but it's not really nails. It's more so hands. So like I have a bunch of like red marks. They would be seeing that right now, but the camera's off.
I am bad at my job.
Look at our animated bodies going, guys. Ooh. Wow.
Why do
we're
you say that
moving.
every time? And I've
at
only
them go.
animated one part of the first friggin' episode.
Woo, look at us go. We're walking. And she sat down. And now we're back to real life. So, in order to kind of maybe deal with them, I've had an occasion. I've probably
What
talked
are we
about it
on
in a
about?
podcast episode, Problem Players.
Specifically?
Just how to deal with them.
Oh, I know that, but what were we talking about literally like 2 minutes ago?
I forgot. So, Problem Players, basically.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Do you guys hear the ice cream machine as well?
Actually, it's fun, thank you. Why did you stop?
Keeps like.
Probably can't even hear it. What the heck, ice cream?
Is it
fan?
just driving like one house at a time? Like ice cream, no. Da-da-da-da. Ice cream, no. Da-da-da-da.
Probably. You know, I used to think. You know, oh frig, what's it called? The Chitty Bang Bang. You know that weird man that comes like, "Do you want some lollipops?" and goes to
Oh
the
my god, I remember.
I used to think that the ice cream man was that.
That was your mental image of them. To be fair, that movie as well as Mary Poppins kind of made me think that that's what modern chimney sweeps were like. They go up into the chimneys.
Chimney. This is
chim,
copyrighted.
If we're singing it though, it's not,
Oh well, yeah, that's true.
because it's technically we're doing a cover. Chim chimney, chim chimney. That's what we're doing now.
No.
We're gonna do a full, unedited cover, a cappella of
The
chim
fucking
chimney, chim chimney, chim
podcast.
chim chiroo.
No.
That's what
No,
our
we're not.
podcast is now.
It's the singing section.
In my Curse of Strahd game, I had a problem player that had joined pretty early.
Ooh, I remember this person if it's the person I think you're on about.
Probably. They were quite helpful right off the bat, because I didn't know much about Roll20, and they were telling me how to do rolls and shit, and how to give us character sheets and stuff. And I was like, cool, thank you. And I hadn't really been reading like the chat log or whatever, because I didn't think it was important, because like it would only be used for rolls and stuff. But while I was not on the game, this player had showed up, and they'd there's like a plugin you can do where you can copy paste some text in there and it'll roll stats for you. And they'd done that about 50-60 times until they got one they liked. And they got like scores of like 90 plus on some of them, and they kept going until they got this amazing one that had insane stats. And I didn't notice. And I just believed them with what stats they got. I'm like, yeah, cool, fine, whatever. They had done some weird things as a player, so like for some reason they'd made them look and talk and roleplay like a wood elf, but their stats were that of a hill dwarf.
Is this the person I think you're on about?
Probably.
Warlock?
No,
not Warlock. Something to do with spell slots.
Cleric. Yeah.
Okay, it's the person
and
about.
some of the stuff they weren't doing was that harmful at all. It was just weird, like red flags and stuff. In combat, they'd say the same recycled joke of like, I'm gonna use the school bell on them and do Toll the Dead. They're gonna hear it and they're gonna run to get their lunch or something. And I'm like, haha, that was I guess kind of funny the first time. Thank you for saying it for the 20th time.
That's not necessarily.
No, I'm just setting them up. And they were kind of like, so they'd missed a couple sessions without mentioning anything. And I'd talk to them and I was like, hey, what's up? And they'd explain why. But the reasons were like, they could have told me that beforehand. So that was one red flag. Another was that in the middle of combat, they'd just kind of leave without saying anything. And it would get to their turn, and I'd skip it, and then we'd come back, and it'd be like, is it been my turn? Can we go back and do mine? And I'm like, no, you were away. You didn't even say anything. So I'd assumed you'd like disconnected or something. So they got a little annoying with that. And like my mate Ty, who I've told you a little bit about.
Yes. Because there was a comment.
Yes.
That said I exist, and I was like, do I?
Yeah. They pointed out quite a few times that their behavior was like kind of weird, and it wasn't really vibing with the group. And I was like, yeah, I'll talk to them about it and stuff. And they never really like improved on what they were doing. It was all a bit like lame and stuff, and they were just being weird. It wasn't like it wasn't they were being a problem. They were just an outlier, and they didn't feel like they were as belonging in the group, and like that maybe this wasn't the sort of group for them. And then we got to an encounter where I was running approximately about 50-60 things. It was at like a winery or something, and there were a buttload of little blight things with like made out of twigs and stuff that were shooting things. We had a player character death during that. And little Miss Cleric over there had upcasted a healing word about 5 times at 2nd level, which you can never have more than 3 2nd level spell slots. And they were level 4 at the time. And I hadn't noticed because I was so busy, but Ty hit me up because they keep track of that sort of stuff, and they were like, hey, they've used way too many spell slots. And I was like, cool, I'll talk to them after about it. And once the fight was over, I was like, hey, you used way too many spell slots. What's the deal with that? And they were like, no, I think I got the right amount. And then all the players just jumped on immediately like, yeah, no, you used way too many. I wasn't going to say anything, but like, what was up with that? And I'd said, and they kept pushing back, so I was like, look, we'll talk about it after session or whatever. And then we'd done some roleplay stuff because a character had died or whatever, and people were coming to terms with that. And in the middle of that, they kept like breaking in the middle of it, like, hey, no, I used the right amount of spell slots. Like, I can show you, I have proof. And I'm like, but you literally didn't, and we all saw it. And they kept trying to like defend themselves on it. And I think I literally just snapped a little bit and went, dude, just shut up. And they went, okay. And then they shut up. And then 5 minutes later, they put in the messages in like our server the same stuff over and over again. And then I literally said, like, because they were still in the call and stuff, I'd said in the middle of the game with my mouth again, hey, can we leave the matter alone? We'll talk about it later. And they were like, okay, and left. the game promptly. So that's a problem player experience I've had. They were it wasn't really like too much of an issue until the last session. Thank you, Ty, for helping me somewhat realize that they were being a douche. And I never properly got to deal with them because I was at the point in my DMing life where I really did think it was just kind of some fun activity that was a bit of a doss around. And I've realized that some other players do like to take it very seriously, and now I am one of those players. And like it like made the experience a bit less enjoyable for them and stuff. So I would say don't necessarily be looking for signs, but if you do find one, certainly talk to someone about it the moment you can and get it cleared up. If someone's being a bit weird or something, let them know that people aren't vibing with it. Like, you've made decisions in games before that I literally talked to you afterwards about, like, hey, that wasn't really fun for anyone.
Yeah.
No one enjoyed that. It was kind of...
Yeah, that's when me and Dad wanted to kill a bunch of guards.
Yeah, that sort of stuff. And, like, it made sense, character-wise, in the story and stuff. But it was just... It felt like, I don't know, we were doing combat for no reason, and that it was like really annoying. And I'd set up this whole scene of there are a lot of guards, do not fight them, wee woo, and then you did, and you know you got over that and stuff, and talked to you about it, and you were like, yeah, I'll probably just go along with the rest of the group next time, just for the sake of ease and stuff. And the same thing can be done with a dungeon master as well. So my Saturday DM, Ash, had kind of, again, no offense to anyone I'm talking about here, but she'd kind of forced an NPC down our throats for like a final encounter or something, to basically save our asses because we weren't doing so well. And it kind of felt like we did literally just get saved and we weren't the heroes. And then, like... we had this final fight where it was like, oh shit, there's a lot of these guys and they're powerful and we know that and stuff, and it's like, oh, this is going to be big. And then a big dragon just popped out of the roof without any of us asking and just killed all of them. So I talked to her after that and just said, hey, that was really anticlimactic. And I kind of explained what I didn't like about it, and she was like, thank you, I'll take that on. And she did. And she's cool now. She was cool before, she's even cooler now. So yeah, just talk about it. Like that's great advice for pretty much any D&D thing ever. Just talk about it. Like, you know, it's a game where people are trying to be nice and be friends, but sometimes when multiple people want to talk or no one wants to talk, you know, there can be conflict, believe it or not. And we haven't had too much of that because we're all proper mates. You know, we're perfectly fine. And whenever anyone does do something stupid, it's just a laugh.
Yeah.
We're not out to, like, no one's out to be the protagonist. We're all just out to have a good time. But yeah, that's some of the advice I can give. There's much more bigger things that go way more in depth with it, but that's just been what's in my experience. And listen to players if you're a DM, because, you know, Ty pointed shit out and it helped me. In session 1 of my Curse of Strahd game, I didn't even, like, align the map to the grid. You know how now there's all of the maps and they're like stuck to the grid and stuff. I didn't do that and they were very annoyed.
Fairs.
Like, it didn't affect you guys, but now I could not imagine like running a map on Roll20 and not having it perfectly aligned to everything. I would cry. And we've kind of just got used to that. And I imagine if we were to play and I didn't have dynamic lighting anymore, that would be a bit weird for you.
Yeah, the new lighting that you've got, with it being coloured, is a bit weird.
Yeah. It's kind of an incentive to use light a bit more, because that's kind of how your character would see.
Yeah.
Because dark vision is supposed to be a lot more... it's supposed to help you, but not, like, make sight just free, basically. So having light is still kind of better.
Yeah.
Is it, like, too jarring for your eyes?
No, I just think it's weird in comparison to what we had before.
Fair. You'd probably get used to it soon enough, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
It just changes the tint of the map a little bit. But yeah, I think that's where we can stop off.
Yeah, we've been blabbing for an hour, so...
Nice. If you guys enjoyed us blabbing for an hour, as we've put it, make sure you do all the YouTube stuff. We don't even have to explain what you have to do.
Yes, we do. It means we get more likes.
Dislike the video. unsubscribe, don't comment, don't join our Discord, don't do any of it.
Don't follow us on Instagram.
Unfollow our Instagram. Leave our Discord.
Yes, all of those things. I realised I've been zoning out loads during
No,
this.
I've realised, but I've just continually
I've just
talked.
been like, so if I look weird during any point of this, that's what I've been doing, zoning out.
I've gotten used to you doing that, so obviously, me being me, I've continued talking.
Yeah, but it might look weird on the other side if people just see me and I'm like... Yeah.
You could just blur your face over.
Yeah, well, I had to blur my phone in the last video.
I saw,
so.
yeah, because you had, like,
So
your
I had
ID
my-
on there.
Yeah, and I'm like, ah, shit,
Good
that's got my
spot.
address on it.
Good spot on that, good spot.
So I was like,
Someone's
that's
gonna
why I
reverse
had my
engineer
phone
it.
down here.
Yeah. Someone's going to reverse engineer that image and find our address and come kill us.
You mean my address?
In any case, thank you for watching. See ya.
Adios.
Bye!
Okay, I'm gonna turn the camera on.
No, don't do it, please, or I'll cry. I'll cry.
You are sending them waveforms insane.
Ah!
Please do not. For the sanity of everyone.
For the sanity of you when you're
Yes.
editing this.
I'm not ready yet, don't start.
Put that in. We're starting now.
No, we're not.
This is the start of the podcast.
No.
I'm not
Okay,
going to do
I'm
the
ready
intro
now.
now.
Okay,
the podcast has started.
No.
So,
Hi
we got
everyone,
some
welcome
questions.
to Magical Tea Party. This is
So
the
you can't do the intro because
Yes,
I
I
talked over
can.
it.
Yes, I can. Hi everyone, it's Magical
So
Tea Party and this is the intro.
basically, we're not going to be able to get a good intro anymore because I'm going to be really stubborn. Our intro started about...
Hi everyone, welcome to Magical Tea Party. My name's Laura, I'm the star of the
Was
show.
it
This the
basically-
podcast has started now and I'm
I can't remember why.
basically Jake's trying to ruin the intro, so I'm putting my hand over his mouth. There you go.
You and your freaking rigid systems.
I want my intro!
We need a proper intro. We can't just
Yes.
start with a funny conversation
No,
because
proper intro.
people are less likely to stay around if we do that. I
A
know if I
proper
watch
intro.
a podcast and I start and they're already in the middle of a conversation, I want to hear that. In comparison
Why?
to...
That's so boring. I'd like to see, hello, my name's Laura, let's start.
Well, that's a bit gone now, isn't it? We can't exactly do that anymore.
Yes, we can,
Bit
because
too far
there's
gone.
a beautiful thing that I like to call editing.
Yeah, but you said you wouldn't edit the podcast.
I have been doing. That means you haven't been watching them.
I have been
Shame
watching
on
them.
you.
I have been watching them. I know you do. I was just trying to... Everyone, please like so that Laura stops being an oppressive dictator on this podcast.